I have to say as well, is that like a little bit of hate to BB? I mean, the guy went 20-2. You didn't even notice it till
At a
the end of the
position
game.
three pretty important times though.
Yeah,
Let's be real.
but he went 20-2, and you've got Wraith Kings in the background and KMP.
It was a team effort.
Team effort. Okay. BB will remember that. But it looks like Polaris putting a lot of respect on BB. We were speaking about the OD potentially being banned out. They've gotten rid of the Queen of Pain. Like, all right, let's draft BB's hero early, make sure he's on something comfortable before they focus heavily on his bans and his hero pool. So now Polaris, second phase, they're like, all right, let's get rid of some carries. Wraith King gone, Monkey gone. Alakin gone as well was kind of interesting.
Whenever you pick a Bane, it's always just you got to get rid of it. I wonder if this Pango is going to be support or if it's going to be a position 3. We know Force likes to do it a fair amount. You've still got a little bit of that flexibility. Of course, it's one of those heroes that's nice against the Mars just because you're still going to be able to roll on through it. And this I feel a lot more comfortable about, right? Of course, the Lina matchup is still Lina favored, but this is Lelouch's hero. It wasn't banned out last time, and for whatever reason, they went for that Storm Spirit first pick in this phase. In the previous game, which I was a little bit surprised about, and I thought that they punished it very effectively. So with the Ember Spirit, at least you've got a little bit more of that backline catch, that consistent damage. It doesn't feel like you're a one and done hero, let's call it.
You know what I'd really like them to do? Go like Shadow Demon Bloodseeker or Bloodseeker Grim. I feel like it just destroys Polaris. Absolutely destroys their lineup. That's a dope pick.
I like the Grim. I think just the Grim is fine. You know, you've shown 2 cores already on MY. Granted, you have to pick 2 supports now, so probably going to be those 2 that come through.
Radiant team pick. Mirana.
Okay.
I still like the Grimstroke, to be honest. Like, you need something that's going to be able to pierce that Pango ultimate. And right now they've got nothing. I suppose the one thing that they do have is, if it gets late enough, is that Lina pop the BKB, you just hit the Pango and you're totally
10
fine.
seconds remaining.
But I don't know. For me, I think you need something a little bit
5
extra.
seconds remaining.
Oh, maybe some comfort here for MY, back into the Mirana on Stylus, so you might look for another support to be able to pair with the Mirana, considering you don't have that ease of execution with the Outward Devourer. We can still see the Mars and her paired together, but you might look for at least a support duo that can roam across the map.
Give me the Grim. I want the Grim. I feel like it's going to be very solid.
Clockwork.
Okay, I like Clockwork a lot. It's one of those heroes that's great at being able to get onto the Bane on the back lines. Gives you a little bit, I suppose, of that that connection coming through. And they go a Beastmaster instead. Okay. I was kind of thinking that if they didn't have any BKB piercing lockdowns, they might have considered going for a Razor on Polaris, and they still can. It's just a question of, do they want to?
Remaining.
I mean, you got to ban out the Luna now, surely. I mean, it's a great
5
lane against the
seconds
Mars.
remaining.
You've got the Bane to be able to set up for a lot of these kills. You've got the Beastmaster if you do win a team fight to be able to massively push into objectives. I feel like it'd be a great Luna game.
Just a bit of a side note, when you were doing a lot of your Eastern European games for DPC, were you seeing the Beastmaster a lot?
Dire team back.
Not as much as I thought. We were seeing a lot more Axe and Underlord.
Yeah.
Surprisingly enough.
Because this hero is getting played a ridiculous amount through Dota 2 Champions League. And it looks exceptional. Like, I've been a really big fan of it.
What's it being paired with in terms of mid and safe lane?
That's a good question that I cannot remember off the top of my head.
I feel like if it's a Luna, then great. Love that combination. Just because it's 2 aura heroes that directly
10
benefit each other.
Mhm.
As well, Luna, another one of those heroes
5
that kind of just
seconds
wants to
remaining.
stand and fight. So the extra information that the Hawk provides is fantastic. Wouldn't even hate seeing something like a Terrorblade as well. It'd be pretty decent. I suppose they've got a good amount of burst, though, coming through with their lineup so far.
I mean, well, they got the 24th pick, so I guess for MY, because they're looking for their carry hero as well at the moment. Troll banned out. Big fan
Maybe
of, like,
they want to pick the Luna.
Yeah,
Luna is very strong.
And you got a Clockwork 5 as well, so it's a little bit more open to going for
10 seconds
like a ranged carry hero.
Hunker's gone,
5
PA's
seconds
gone.
remaining.
Troll is gone. Yeah, give me the Luna. You just need something that is going to be able to deal with those Beastmaster Hawk, boars relatively well, and then the combination with the Luna is really solid. I would really love to see a Luna pick actually from MY, which gives me a reason as to why they haven't been banning it. So I wonder if Polaris are kind of thinking, all right, if they pick that, what are we going to be able to respond with? Terrorblade's still in the pool,
Yeah.
so I think that could be the way to go for them.
Yeah, it definitely feels like right now, from what I've seen over in Eastern Europe, they've tried to heavily counter the Beastmaster in the lane, and he's really struggled in that regard, but just how he's able to amplify his team afterwards, like you said, pairing up someone strong with Inner Beast. The vision with Hawk teams doesn't matter if you're tier 2.5, whatever you want to say, you're good enough to be able to use information to a very high level, and that's where we've really seen the Hawk come into play, and Raw just scaled really well into the late game with a BKB Pierce, so... For MY, looking, like you said, some way to be able to deal with the summons. They'll get rid of the Drow Ranger, so kind of...
Leads me to believe that they might be angling for a Terrorblade pick for themselves, right? All of that base armor, doesn't like to build into a lot of armor himself.
Troll's good versus him too.
Where... Troll's gone, though.
Yeah, but like as
true,
into
yeah,
the Terrorblade, like I think it's a very good pick. And
5 seconds.
so yeah, 100%.
I think they're trying to bait this Luna. Trying to bait the Luna pick out and then Terrorblade him.
Dire team pick.
No, okay, some little
I
different.
mean, you could still do it if you wanted to. Yeah.
Choose your hero.
Instant Terrorblade as well. Like I feel you go Dusa, you go Luna, like you're just picking up this Terrorblade, and it's a Natsumi Terrorblade as well. A hero that really thrives off the back of this, and you have quite the lineup of Polaris. You know, previously in game 1, we were seeing MY have an advantage off the back of their draft. Do we feel like maybe Polaris have fixed some of their weaknesses they had in the second game?
It's more even this time around. I still feel like BB is going to have a totally fine time in that mid lane. Sarian BB against Natsumi. I mean, that's a good amount of magic damage that you're going to need to be a little bit careful about with this TB for sure. I feel like MY's top lane will go quite nicely for them though. Beastmaster, his boars aren't going to be living for too long when you've got Lionax and KNP constantly harassing them out. So I think it's more even. I feel like Polaris can take this, but you know, MY put together such a great performance that you can't count them out either.
Do you feel like MY might have issues with defending towers early though? Like you got Beastmaster that can, of course, take objectives super early with Helm Dom. Lelouch is going to make rotations, and early they don't have a way to really kill off and at least control Lelouch. And then Xavius with level 6 is going to be a big issue through a lot of these team fights to kind of disrupt the arena and maybe just target BB and prevent Lina from dishing out damage freely. So at least that's how I'm looking at Polaris. Are you like on the same board?
I mean, yeah, Polaris obviously have great pushing potential, right? But it's just a question of how exactly are MY going to be able to move, right? I'm just thinking, you've got this Polaris lineup there on Dire, right? So let's say they're pushing a tier 2 bot at like 15 minutes. If you're going to look to respond to it, you can't just run straight into them. You need to loop around, catch the backline, catch out this Bane, and then look to take the team fight from there, because I feel like it's a little silly just to run head on first. But of course, Polaris, they're very experienced. They've probably got someone set up there on the area where they could look to make a wraparound happen. So I feel like you've got decent ways to be able to trade into it, but of course you've also got really nice burst damage as well on MY to be able to punish that.
It definitely feels like, I mean, you just mentioned the Bane, but he's going to be a huge reason of why Terrorblade and Ember are going to... Oh, Xavius? Well, that's another nice first blood for MY, and BB's even going to find it as well. So this mid matchup getting even better for the Lina.
Was able to get that shield crash off for the 60% damage reduction, but when you were that low, unfortunately not going to do all that much as, well, the pings start to come out for that observer ward, and they don't time their right clicks well enough, so things going exceptionally well right now for MY. They're even going to get rid of their own, just saying, oh no, no experience for you.
Oh, well, surely they don't get... I mean, at least Polaris have 5 heroes back alive for the bounties. They don't have the greatest level 1. See, I mean, if now MY get 3, I mean, you're like, oh, this is a good start for the boys. Should be 2-2 apiece, so it looks like. At least how everyone's setting up. I mean, we get to see another Pango flex to the position 4. How do you feel like this lane's going to go? Because you got a double melee with the Beastmaster along with the Pangolier. They also don't get that D ward, so wasted sentry from Xavius.
Love it. I feel like it's going to go well for MY. You know, for me, the Clockwork is a very good hero at just being able to create a ton of space for your Medusa. You know that he's got the shield crash, not the swashbuckle, so the battery assault is going to be quite nice. And yeah, it's going to be main focus in onto the boars there. So I feel like KNP is going to do just fine in this lane.
You already see Lion Axe using abilities to push away Force, and Xavier's doing the same thing as well to try and secure some of the range creeps. I was thinking maybe Lion Axe. What did I say?
Would you say he's forcing him away?
If you want to continue to use shitty puns, yes. That's...
You'll love to see it.
Oh yes, let's... I mean, the cringe levels, where are we getting up to?
Oh, we haven't even started yet.
Oh, we haven't started? Okay. Well, so there's levels that are unreached yet. Very cool.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Oh, no.
I do like the fact that they made this pull happen, though. Clockwork can't contest if it's this deep, and as well as if there's a creep wave right next to a tower, it nullifies the effectiveness of having that. Of course, the downside is that KNP is going to be able to do the exact same thing that he did in game number 1, and basically take away this entire creep wave.
At least now someone is coming over to maybe soak some of this and get some denies, at least some experience for Xavier. So we saw previously like KNP got a full creep wave for free and just no one else was there to kind of soak that. So, and Pango is definitely a hero that thrives as a support, definitely thrives off having levels.
Yeah, for sure. Linax, he desperately wants to hit up onto his level 2 and look, just again, he's making sure to intercept the wave, doesn't go underneath the tower. Sure, at least, again, they are adjusting to make sure that some of that experience is getting soaked up by Xavius. Until he's level 2, he is very squishy and needs to play around that quite long cooldown on the shield crash at level 1. It's just a battle of creep aggro, basically.
That's huge. I mean, Force now kind of has to come back to soak this, but I mean, now they can just push over Xavius as he doesn't make it to the low ground. I mean, Lion Axe and how he's been playing both the lanes in game 1 and game 2 has been really, really solid. This is something you brought up as well in game 1, that and why they've always been like a really strong laning team, and that's just again coming to fruition.
Even getting the rocket flare at level 2. Hopefully it doesn't punish him too much. Just obviously having the cogs incredibly impactful for being able to manipulate lanes, make for effective team fights, but he wanted to make sure he secured a range creep for himself. So he's already halfway towards that level 3. So nicely done there by Linax.
And for top...
And yeah, we haven't really been looking at many other lanes, right? Top lane's going pretty decently, but again, BB in that mid lane, sure, he was assisted by First Blood, but he's already opened up a 400 net worth lead.
Again, like they're giving Lelouch not the easiest matchups. I mean, a melee into a range, OD, along with the Lina, some of the better laning stage heroes. When you get that really strong matchup where you can just, out right-click someone, CS easily, and even though this is Lelouch's arguably best hero, we're seeing him still struggle into this matchup.
Now, I am not a mid player. But have you seen many times where Alina goes bottle Soul Ring?
I've been seeing it a little bit more recently. Soul Ring's broken. Like, Soul Ring is such an incredible eye. Broken, I really tend to not use that word as bottom. Actually, Lion Axe. I do have 2 points in the ball, so the clock's going to be okay. Never mind. Soul Ring's really cheap. Like, super, super cheap. 680 gold, I think. You get 6 strength, which is nice for Alina. That's just a little bit squishier through the early stages. Armor's great versus Dire. I mean, you've got minus armor on the Lucky Shot. Terrorblade's all physical. Beastmaster's all physical. And, I mean, yes, I guess Lina's going to have Boots of Travel, so you're always pretty high up in resources, but it just feels like you're able to farm so much nicer. Like, this works on a lot of heroes you wouldn't really expect. And we're seeing it kind of at the moment in the meta.
I mean, I love it on a Storm, for example, just because it provides you with that, like, you don't even give up necessary HP just because you can use the Soul Ring while you're zipping, right? Yeah. But for Alina, it feels like you are just that little bit squishier. Granted, they don't exactly have amazing burst damage right now on Polaris, at least until this Ember Spirit gets huge.
Yeah, for someone like a Storm Spirit, like, you don't go Boots of Travel, so, like, you could definitely be... It's much more core on him than considering Lina's super mobile. You're going to be in and out, back to base, refilling, then being able to join fights. So definitely an item that I think is just kind of the flavor of the month, as we're seeing a lot since how long the patch is. Top They got the meta and they should be able to get the kill on Seri. As Mavis cuts off the retreat thanks to the Nightmare. And, oh, a good start for them. We see Natsumi. He also is having a really good time, almost doubling. In fact, yeah, he's doubling the CS from the Mars at the moment. And now they can use this kill to get the creep equilibrium back in their favor thanks to Mavis pulling.
Nicely done. They ping it out, though, so they know exactly what's happening. And, of course, you've got a Mirana who's actually making the rotation through to mid, so you're not going to have that arrow to stop the top tower from being pushed in, but Stylist might want to go for this, although nice fortify there. Might have been in danger of copping an arrow.
Well, they might die BB actually instead. He's already used a lot of his abilities. BB, they still clip on the arrow. The Slight Dog, not enough! Oh no! Oh, Lelouch, I hate to see it.
And that's the first couple of earn charges coming through as well, so Style's going to be very happy with that. Hopefully, for his sake, they don't scout out the fact that the sentry was still placed down here next to the tier 1 tower. He just put an observer ward right next to it. It is nighttime though, so might be able to get away with it while it survives for another 40 or so seconds. Oh, he's actually zipping all the way back behind the tower as Lelouch.
Just clenching a little bit there. Lelouch, he knows his, well, I don't want to say he knows his limits considering he died behind the tower.
At 6 minutes.
Yeah. Man, Force is getting nothing out of bottom. 16 and 2.
Amazing what
And previously, Beastmaster's been a very strong laner with how you're able to play with these balls. You can just harass so easy into a lot of matchups. But I think over time, people have identified a lot better matchups against him. Maybe it's also the meta as well at the moment that a lot of his more difficult laning matchups are currently available. So I see this is going to be a bit later of a Helm Dome timing.
Yeah, I mean, they banned appropriately around it, though. They took out the Conquer, they took out, well, they didn't, but Conquer, PA were gone, Troll was gone. So, yeah, I feel like they've given him the space to become, you know, again, that big win condition, that big pressure hero for the earlier stages of the game. It's just, what's he going to do with it?
So, how do we see MY look to play this game with the Medusa and Alina, though? Because quite often, Lina can be like, you know, Boots of Travel BKB, and you're really happy to fight off the back of that. If you go first item Boots of Travel, then you can maybe look to make a little bit more plays. So are you just really all eyes on Medusa farming triangle and then everyone else is making space?
I think so. I mean, you've got the heroes to be able to do it, right? Mirana, Clockwork, Lina, Mars, all great heroes at that aspect. And, well, Lionax actually taking away the haste route as well.
They're still
A
following.
little low in mana.
And Mavis might be able to cut off the Clockwork. Haste has got long enough duration, and especially with heroes nearby as well.
But yeah, I mean, of course, playing around the Arena of Blood at every possibility is going to be the key factor for MY. Of course, you can't really look to focus in onto the Pango or the Ember Spirit, so I feel like the main priority is just making sure to shut down Force in these earlier stages of the game, delay out that Helm of the Overlord as much as possible.
Do see Seri at the moment. Arena available, so we could get Lina making her first rotation up top. It'd be really nice to take this early objective because with this tower still available, it just gives Xavius that much easier of a time to be able to circ experience. And we spoke about before how important the level 6s is going to be. Pango and along with the Bane as well.
I feel like BB might just be waiting for him to hit onto that Boots of Travel, and then immediately after that, he'll look to make that kind of rotation. Probably he'll hit around the same timer as that 10-minute mark. And, you know, when you're coming up against a Beastmaster, you kind of need to resign yourself to the fact that you're probably losing a tower at the 10-minute mark if you haven't already. So if they can just look to make a similar type of movement on their end, I think they can be very happy with that.
Do you see Stylus sneaking his way into the top side, but that deep lane ward for Polaris have scouted this out. Or at least aware that they're probably going to make an attempt here thanks to the arena from Seri. So a spear to set up. Lucia's still going to TP in along with Mavis as well. Seri commits, but how deep has he truly committed as a Moonlight Shadow covers the retreat?
Well, Force.
Yeah, Force.
You're a little deep here, my man.
Styles TPing down. He keeps his balls on him to kind of tick over the battery, so we'll see if that's going to help him escape. But Lionax, he'll just play off the back of the cogs to make sure there's no avenue for the Beastmaster.
Well, didn't even need to use the arena that time around or the Lina to be
mid
able to
lane,
catch out
BB. Yeah, Mavis is going to find the connection. They don't have Rolling Thunder just yet. They need a couple more creeps to find that experience. And now Seri rotating. Drops the combo. Arena, Laguna. Bye-bye, Pango.
Very nicely done by MY. That's exactly the type of move you want to make. At least for the Beastmaster's sake, he was able to finish the Helm Dom before he ended up dying. So you're not going to lose that unreliable gold. But, I mean, this is not what you want to see as a Beastmaster. You know, your siege creep is gone. Their siege creep is hitting in onto your tower. They're going to make the retreat, not making the same mistake as Polaris in overstaying their welcome. But still, that is nearly a tier 1 tower gone on the bottom side of the map. Not what you would have been expecting.
And, I mean, all this time, KMP's top of the net worth. And they've still got, I think, a double stack of the Ancients. Nothing the hard. So still some farm that Medusa's yet to claim. This is... How do we feel like the game's going to fare, though, versus the Terrorblade and the Medusa? Like, what's the timings, really, from either carry in this matchup?
I mean, I feel like Medusa is just going to be able to accelerate a little bit faster than the Terrorblade, just because of how much map control they're getting. When, you know, you've got a Beastmaster draft, you probably were expecting to get a little bit more out of the map. So I feel like KNP will probably start to come online maybe 5 or so minutes before the Terrorblade, which could be the key factor for him.
Smoke up, though, from Polaris. Once again, Lion Axe, look at his positioning. Almost an area to pop this, but they're able to sidestep the clockwork, and now they've got their eyes set on Seri. Xavius with the level 6 available. Should give them that chain control with how close he is to the northern cliff there. So with an easy bounce back, they'll get the Mars on his entry up to the Ancient, so up to the high ground. Lush doesn't have too much mana to play with now. He's just going to try and push back KMP as best as he can. Oh, they're actually still going to fight on over. Lion Axe, perfect use of the cogs, push back. And that's a second death here for the Ember.
And just the patience from Lion Axe. He was standing to the right of that this little nook where he is right now for the longest time. Just waiting and waiting for all of those remnants to be used, for all of that mana to be used, so that when he did eventually go in, when the Flame Guard dropped off, it was a way to get secure that kill. So I'm really impressed by some of his movements and plays.
Yeah, Lion Axe is putting MY in a position to set themselves up perfectly here for this mid game. You see both their cores sitting first and second in the net worth. BB already boots are traveling. And one component towards the BKB. They're actually going to look to jump the Lina, but Lelouch not getting that chains to help the Beastmaster to close the distance. So definitely we are seeing Polaris kind of teeter on the edge of, you know, attempting to make these plays, but it's a little bit difficult at this stage.
It is, but I mean, you got a Beastmaster, right? You have to. And he's already fallen a little bit behind on net worth, not getting as much of that tower gold as he would have liked. Lelouch is looking to play around with him as much as possible, though, to make it a bit easier. And I did not realize that it was a 3-level gap between BB and Lelouch until right now.
Oh, wow.
Even popping the aggressive glyph there, so that they can get a few more hits in onto this tower.
There's a 50 last hit disparison between the position too, so we just see Lelouch hasn't been able to get as much love back in the jungle. I guess the one shining spot at the moment here for Polaris is that Natsumi is getting exceptionally farmed, and he's going to be looking for a relatively early BKB, so we'll see how this is going to be able to bring a way for them back into the mid game. It's not too much of a lead though for MY. It is only 1,000 at the moment, but it definitely feels like it feels a lot more than just 1,000.
It does, and I think it's just because who has the gold in particular. I mean, you've got on the Pango a little bit more because you're able to get a little bit more out of the map, of course, but the fact that Lina has been able to pick up so much gold is a huge deal for mine. I mean, having the confidence to be next to a tier 2 tower at the 14.5-minute mark when you don't have a Beastmaster is almost unheard of.
In the end, it is going to be Polaris to find this tier 1 mid before MY. So we'll open up the map a little bit just to make it that much easier for these aggressive movements into the triangle, but Medusa is getting to the stage where those movements are going to be difficult. You're almost Manta completed, so definitely the survivability starting to stack up.
Could just be a matter of patience again, right? They saw the Metamorphosis was used. They're going to wait the 20 or so seconds, and then just look to make a play immediately afterwards. So it's up to Natsumi to make sure that he's either playing in an incredibly safe spot and they go and gank him, or they go to the other side of the map and punish the fact that you're not going to have a Terrorblade there. Decent push down on this bottom side, though.
Is Cardi connecting
starting
next?
to come back.
The rune of regeneration.
Oh, they're actually going to use
Maybe
this
he's
time.
just trying to stall.
Radiant structures are
And why I say no stalling for you. We'll lift up the creep wave, continue to protect it. It's also going to help out bottom a little bit. They are stalking the Lelouch at the moment. Lion Axe with the setup, arrow connection. Is the Flame Guard absorption enough? It's not. Is BB. I mean, he's really had the name of Lelouch for the entirety of this series. 4-0 on the Lina. And now with the BKB coming out on the Courier, and it feels like she's going to be powerful enough to continue pursuing on for more.
They're not even losing too much damage onto their tier 2 tower, so really big win coming through there for MY. Believe that finishes up the Manta style as well. Actually, KNP might have had that before that team fight, so nicely done across the board for them. Lina continues to build up. I mean, the main thing now is just making sure that you're still like the second one to join into a lot of these team fights. You can't feel overly confident just because of how well the early game has gone for you on this Lina. You're still up against a Bane, you're still up against a Beastmaster, two heroes that are going to be able to lock you down through that BKB.
And for MY, another big item is going to be the Blink on Seri, which is now completed. So we're going to try and connect down bottom. As Force still sticking nearby. If they check the creeps, they're going to know the inner beast is on them. So they've got the awareness. And I mean, now with Seri just jumping over the tree line. They even scan as well just to try and find out wherever the Beastmaster is. It's going to be Stylus to claim the kill and a successful reveal of the Blink.
Again, just every movement is a winner right now for MY. You know, they're doing exactly what they need to. Beastmaster's the one that's going to be putting the pressure onto the map. Sure, Lelouch has shown time after time that he's able to dish out a ton of damage in that mid to late game, but I don't think you're overly concerned about that when you've got, again, this Lina Medusa pair who are going to be able to outcarry an Ember TB pair.
Okay, so what do we feel like is going to be the timing here for Polaris? Is it just that Natsumi BKB, or is there something else they're looking for?
I mean, you'd love to have a Kaya and Sanj as well on Lelouch, I suppose, but
top lane. And scoop out. Instantly cancelled from Seri though, and now BB has got an opportunity to turn around with the BKB. Just a quick cock down. I mean, we saw Seri, he TP'd previously to, he was anticipating that Polaris was setting up for that maneuver, and they still stuck around to try and make that play, and well, now they're pinging out Roshan as well.
I mean, no Fiend's Grip is
yes,
pretty big
DD.
deal.
Cool. Yeah,
oh, of course.
Very fun. They finally have to get rid of DD in front of Roche, right? I feel like we've been asking for it as a community for a couple of patches now. And it's been a couple of patches too long.
Do you think that'd be too wonky, though? Like, DD cannot spawn in front of Roche Pit?
Well, Polaris? Now we're seeing Roche getting claimed, but maybe it's going to be the initial target off the back of the hook shot. Natsumi's nearby, along with Xavius. I mean, it's an exceptional rolling thunder by the cliff, so he's able to bounce back multiple times. But the Stone Gaze not giving him the opportunity for the chain control afterwards, as now KMP's able to turn it back around. Lena's still playing off the back of the Aegis. They're almost getting rid of the first slap, but they're just lacking that control after the use of the rolling thunder. So MY, they've got the opportunity to reset as Mirana point blank arrow, enough to get rid of the pain clear. So all in all, a 2 for 2, but MY still... They get out with the Aegis advantage.
They get out with the Aegis. It was, very nicely done. I believe they also got rid of the vision around that top area, so that's an Observer Ward removed from the pool as well. It was a good use of the Arena of Blood by Seri as well. Obviously, he was being a big priority of a lot of the chain lockdown there. Ended up dropping it just to make sure that he wasn't going to get right-clicked down by the Terrorblade. Lelouch tried to dive in onto him with the Flame Remnants, but immediate spear was able to get on away, so... I'm just getting more and more impressed by Seri and the way that he's able to use a lot of the utility aspects of the Mars rather than just pure lockdown.
I know this series is definitely not over and done with just yet, but I wonder if other teams are looking at MY and you're thinking about how well Lion Axe has set them up through his lane and how Seri's looked really good on the Mars as well. So we might see just different games of priority be switched around from what we really saw in at least second game's draft early on. It was kind of identifying BB.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
Yeah, potentially. I mean, it's 2 games in a row that Series had this Mars. It's 2 games in a row that Stylist has had this Mirana as well, right?
Yep,
so
very true.
it's hard to focus in onto just one thing. They eventually do get the tier 2 tower on the bot side, probably about like, I don't know, 4 or so minutes later than you would like to whenever you're playing this Beastmaster draft. And I mean, he still doesn't have the Helm of the Overlord, still about 350 away from that. So it's a ballsy move if you're trying to continuously start to push in, especially considering Xavius just had to use the Rolling Thunder on the top side to try and keep this wave pushed out a little bit without dying himself. Be able to stop it though.
Radiant's bottom tower is
Bottom
under
is
attack.
going to be a bit of a trigger lane here for MY to kind of force themselves back
Dire's structures
to not continue the siege. As either team, going to split up the glyphs. MY really looking to try and trade this tier 2 tower. They want to open up the outpost for them.
They do, but you've got a siege creep wave on the bottom side. I feel like they kind of need to deal with it a little bit more desperately than taking a tier 2. Maybe they're not quite as concerned because it's not a Helm of the Overlord creep that's down there.
Sure.
And Lena's going to be able to deal with it quite nicely.
Is this...
Maybe even get the Centaur now.
Is Skadi or Ags on Dusa? Oh, it's Ags already. Okay. I mean, a really good item versus a lot of the single target control, like the Beast, the Fiend's Grip.
Yeah, I want to see a Shard come out next for Dusa, or just look to play around the second Roche, right?
Iron Axe. A quick and easy hook. Just blow up the Xavius Panglia. Apologies, continue.
I was just saying you got to get the Shard on the Dusa whenever you're up against a Bane and you've got the Ags, right? Like, try and Fiend's Grip him, try and Nightmare him, whatever. You're just going to get that Mystic Snake flying at you and freeze you.
Is he... Are you eyeing up second Roshan for that Aghanim Shard, or do you feel like just because you've gone into Scepter super early on, you may as well itemize into it? Because maybe if you lose a couple of fights before second Rosh, you could be in a position where now we've given a window for Polaris to come back into this.
Second Rosh is fine. I mean, they're obviously feeling very confident, but there's still a few key items that you need to be able to close it out.
BB. It's got ages for another minute 10. BKB as well for the second life. Yeah, they've got Seri TPing into the tier 3 at the moment. The rest of Radiant are moving through the river, but Medai have the Observer, so they're well aware of the positioning. Mavis, once again, the Fiend Strip's going to be cancelled. Do they have the physical damage to go through the BKB duration? Lelouch is going to try and fly over the cliff there, but still, Suri's use of the arena makes it so goddamn difficult. As Styles lands the arrow, they don't have any remnants left available as well. The Slight Chain's not lucky enough as BB trying to get away from the Centaur. Conquer is enough. Now Xavius is in as well. Finally. They get rid of the Lina, but what price is it to pay? You lose 3, and you might even lose Xavius as well off the back of this. You got Blink up in a couple seconds, but they got the rock.
Got the Yules on Lina.
A couple leap charges. One more second. Over the tree line. He's able to get the swashbuckle out. Doesn't matter though. I'll close the distance. Great reaction from MY, and again we're seeing Seri the right place, TPing into the tier 3 tower, getting rid of the Bane's Fiends, but it just felt like we haven't seen him be able to chain control someone down through these fights.
And Dusa did end up buying the Aghanim Shard as well. Initially was going into the Skadi, but actually we see Stylus give up one for free, but it does mean that you don't have to contend with that BKB piercing stun anymore for the next 70 seconds. I'm just really impressed by MY, to be perfectly honest. I feel like they're making every single move correctly. Except leaving that Slippers of Agility in the mid lane. KMP probably wanted to pick that one up on the career.
Come on, where's the efficiency?
It's coming back.
Alright, good. Alright, well Natsumi's about to have Skadi. So against the double range duo in the Medusa and Lina, you are going to get a lot of the effectiveness off the back of that. So we're going to see Polaris smoke instantly and look to try and take a fight. But Raw's still cool down for another 30. Too worried about that, however.
If they can catch KNP before he hits level 20, that's huge, right? Like that Mystic Snake Mana gain, especially with the Aghanim Scepter, is such a key important part of playing this Medusa in the position 1 role. Stylist, he's going to be the one to break the smoke, and you're very happy with that. Chain TP's coming through.
Yeah, they actually want to take the fight. Lion Axe. Nice use of the hook shot. They're going to be able to catch him out, but now with the backline as well. Xavius is on top of the Lina. The Stonegaze giving BB an opportunity to turn it back around with the BKB. And then with Natsumi on the outskirts is unable to really utilize that heavy right-click damage. they can turn it back around. He's still got the Thunder ready to rock and roll with, but look at the Mena slowly getting burnt away from KP. The Mystic Snake giving a little bit more survivability back to the safety of the T2 tower, but Natsumi, the help of the Skadi, continue to push on further and further for more. Don't really have enough damage in the tank right now. It's just Force and Xavius that are playing their distance, looking to amplify the Terrorblade, but I mean, now Natsumi's like, all right, we're stuck around too long. We got to TP out. He'll be successful, but unfortunately, Xavius will not be as lucky. Blink up and... Okay, again, they just get the cancellation of the blink as soon as it's about to come back up.
Man, Seri is so good. I'm just full Seri fanboy right now. Like, everything that he's doing in these team fights. Not only was that Arena of Blood amazing in terms of being able to lock people down, but he also used it so that the Lina, who was getting quite low, had a space to move into. I'm sure that's what the comms was about. He was like, move into the arena, TB can't kill you. He did. He's able to get away. And then even just the small things, using the spear as he's getting chased, tossing up the bulwark to make sure that the Medusa doesn't die to a few of those last right clicks from the TB. He is getting the absolute most out of this hero, and you love to see it.
So only a 4,000 net worth lead for MY though. So this game hasn't been blown too far out of proportion considering they have that 12 kill advantage, but they are eyeing up Lelouch. Able to turn that into an even bigger start. Lelouch, nice dodge. Out, but now with the Lincolns as well, popping the Roar, so well, at least Force now has the recognition of an extra defensive item for BB.
What did that hook shot connect on to?
That's a great question. I think
maybe it was a hawk?
I don't know how the slide animation works, but like, because you know how you go in like a circle, or not a circle, but where you use it. So I don't know if it counts as like you hitting him still in ethereal. Like you're not going to get the stun, but maybe still like the connection sound comes off. I'm not sure.
I feel like
it's very
you
weird.
Get done if you manage to hook shot a
Yeah.
slide.
Lelouch is going to be a bit cautious. I guess he's got Mavis behind him.
Well.
But it is
Always such a key factor. Whoever wins this team fight's going to get Roche.
And then it comes down to the vision advantage around the area. Both sides have relatively decent wards. If the fight kind of turns to the northern side, yeah,
they put it just a little bit more to the left of where that usually goes down.
Look at Stylus. Great spot. Pops the smoke, gets the Hawk. Now they're going to push outside the base as well with the Moonlight Shadow. Polaris looking to go for the long way around here. So got to be cautious. I mean, Roche hasn't taken too much damage just yet.
I wonder if they'll put him on a bit of a timer. You know, you've got this Ancient Black Dragon with the Helm of the Overlord. Just toss it into mid lane. Force them to make a choice. Are you going to go for Roche, or are you going to have to defend?
I like that a lot.
Invisibility.
Now they got the high ground advantage. Clock's able to give them some information. Right, they might just cut mid knowing this, and like exactly like you just said, use the middle lane as like a deterrent to push them back. But now not having a creep wave won't give this play opportunity for Polaris. What's going on? Opposite sides of the map. Lucius back cutting. Love to have the Aghanims at this stage in the game. He's got to be cautious if he goes for another way. Oh, no. Surely they don't think about Roche.
Would it be ballsy?
It'd take a bit too long, right?
Dire's courier has
Especially
been
if you've got a
killed.
Clockwork that's able to scout consistently.
No way. Okay, yeah, they do. They
Dire's
scout it
middle
out.
tower is under
Last right.
attack.
All right, we're going to get outside the pit. Not have the opportunity to sneak this one now.
Like, they're very clever wards, right, that Polaris have put down. But unfortunately for them, just because of how this weird movement has happened, they can't actually see them when they're on their own
Radiant's
high
courier
ground,
has
right?
been
Like,
killed.
no one can see where the Clockwork is standing right now just because of the fact that they've had to be so creative with where these wards have been placed down.
Could you just see maybe Natsumi send a couple illusions down bottom? Because this is the only lane that has been able to get
Radiant's
out.
bottom
Like with
tower
how
is
MY
under
are positioned at the moment, they
attack.
can't really
Radiant
connect to
are
bottom and then back to around Roshan area.
Yeah, I feel like
Dire's top tower.
the
What's
Ancient
going
Black
on,
Dragon
actually? Sorry, continue.
doesn't even... Like, Ancient Black Dragon doesn't need to be in these team fights. I feel like you get enough damage from the rest of your heroes.
Gonna try and fly up to the high ground here, but the first stun from Xavius, and now he's stuck though. So has to cancel the Rolling Thunder. It's been a huge factor in these fights for Polaris, and now they won't have this in the arsenal. But Roche is slowly falling as Seri's gonna jump. Natsumi's caught on the outskirts as well, but the arena not really providing them anything as Force jumps in, looking to control the Medusa for the start of the fight here, but KMP relatively healthy. They'll turn it back on Natsumi and BKB, but he's indecisive. Now he gets turned to stone, but the blink in! Xavius, he catches the arrow. It gives Natsumi an opportunity to turn with the Sunder. What a play for the Pangoli! Keeps Natsumi alive. Now you've got the Aegis, and now you're hunting for more as well. I mean, that is the X factor that we were speaking about.
Oh, I was like, he is. Do you reckon that was bait? Do you reckon
I don't think he meant it. I don't think he meant that at all.
Maybe it was like, my carry just stared into a Medusa while he was ulting.
Oh my. I mean, they got a lead now. 2,000? Lena bought back. Oh
yeah.
my.
It's a big deal. At least he's got the Lincolns, so he's not going to be quite as susceptible to ganks coming through onto him. Well, if the bang goes, I suppose, but Mavis is going to be tipping up towards the top side, and they'll see that. So it might even enable them to go for some sort of kill here. Oh, that's a lot of damage.
Take me.
Well, Lelouch's got Ags now. Yeah, they also gave him the Aghanim Shard too, so perfect timing. I mean, he was having a relatively difficult start to this game, but now having these couple of items, we'll see how much chaos he's going to provide. Honestly, like, is his target the Mars? Do you jump the Mars, try and cancel the blink, and just not give them that good of a opportunity for the arena? Because we've been seeing the praises from Seri. He's looked exceptional, so you look to deal with him?
I think so. I think you just got to... Oh.
LSA's there. They've got the extra
jetpack.
starts as well, but with Xavier's coming over in the area, it's going to give Lelouch an opportunity once again, thanks to the Pangolier. It'll cost him his life. Mavis is going to join him in the afterlife as well. But another sacrificial play to keep your cause alive.
Maybe I need to do more of that. Maybe that's why my MMR's taking. But no, it's another really good play. I feel like what you mentioned before with the Ember Spirit is the right type of play to make, right? You just got to get onto the Mars, and even if you don't kill him, you just got to get him to pop that BKB super early so that you do get that extra level of effectiveness out of something like the Fiend's Grip, because you can't Fiend's Grip the Medusa anymore. She's got the Cold-Blooded. You can't Fiend's Grip the Lena unless you're using the Enfeeble first, which you're probably not going to because you want to use that onto the Medusa as much as possible. So yeah, I feel like it has to be the Mars. So if you can get Ember Spirit onto the Mars, get him to use BKB, and then Fiend's Grip him, it takes away a huge portion of their team fight.
I mean, who did they find him? Yeah, they did.
Chasing
Seri.
him.
Oh, okay, not close enough. So Force has even got his own Aghanim Shard as well. We've got a couple across the board, but definitely the Beastmaster is one of the better ones that I'm, a big fan of. Actually, Radiant. Linearch's got a hookshot on the high ground. We've spoken a lot about Xavius and what he can provide them. He's still able to make it down and now look to turn, but the physical damage at this stage of the game makes it so difficult with how you can use your Rolling Thunder. So get rid of the Pango, but it's still... And Polaris feel like they're in a position to take the fight. They've got the Aegis for another minute 40. Natsumi, let me just blow up the Mirana. That goddamn Silver's Edge damage. To consider him to get the leap away.
Stylist.
Dude, that... Oh
A
my.
dive bomb.
So stupid, it's so dumb. Oh. Who do you feel like is going to be a little bit more favored once we get to the later stages? Because we're pretty close there. I mean, 35 minutes in and such an even game. So like everyone's got the items they're kind of, requiring for a game like this.
Sorry, I'm looking at some of these item builds. Stylist in particular. Do you realize he's level 19 as well?
Yeah,
and ahead of Seri. I mean, the fact that he's going into a Dagon, I get it. A, you want to be able to get through the Flame Guard, but B, it also instantly kills illusions, so it's a good way to take away a lot of TB's effectiveness. It's going to be after the Aghanims that he's going for. So just trying to stall, of course, Medusa, one of the best heroes at fighting on that high ground.
We did see him go for the Aghanims in the last game as well, so maybe something he just feels like is a solid item for the Mirana.
Radiant's middle
Radiant
tower
though.
is under attack.
So looking to try and find that angle. This is a nice thing about the Mirana, along with the Clockwork. multiple ways to be able to give themselves some information. Multiple
Radiant's
outer
middle
towers
tower
now
has
being
fallen.
claimed as Polaris. In fact, they've taken every single one, so an advantage for them in regards to the objectives.
Just as Aegis is about to expire as well.
They're actually going to look to take the fight. A couple of seconds left on Aegis. Polaris feel like it's not even going to matter with the position they are at this stage in the game.
This is the tense moment, though. This is the one where you're on the edge of your seat. What's going to happen? I don't think any team coming into this was expecting Polaris to potentially get knocked down to that lower bracket of this Phase 1 in their first game. MY, not a bad team, but Polaris looking in such hot form recently. Smoke is going to break. They know that they're hanging around to the right here. Do they have vision? They just do.
I'm looking at these 25s as well, seeing if there's anyone big ones to come out. KMP just hit 24. Lena's about to be 2/3 of the way there, so pretty close, and is also
That range will be pretty good.
especially
Yeah,
with the MKB shortly against the a butterfly Terrorblade that we're about to see.
Absolutely.
Radiant's bottom tower is
Going
under
for it.
attack.
So no buyback on Natsumi. Keep in mind, Lena buyback is also on cooldown for another minute 50. So still a bit of a window for Polaris. Wonder if they look to focus down the Lena, but with Lincolns and BKB, definitely doesn't make it easy at all.
Another smoke.
Oh, running up a high ground like this on MY's hero is a difficult task. For Xavius, he's going to bear this task though. Starting with a Rolling Thunder, but MY, they're already back to the safety of their tier 3, and now it's going to be a
It's a
Rolling
BKB
Thunder on
used.
cooldown.
Yeah, I suppose Rolling Thunder is probably a little bit more important.
KMP will charge up, but look at the
Lion Axe on the
backstab.
back
Lion
line.
Axe finds Force along with Mavis, so cutting the fight into really breaking the formation here, but still the rest of MY getting pushed further and further back as they're going to try and blow up. Sorry, they actually get the speed connection. Now with the blow up damage, it's enough. They'll get rid of the Ember. Medusa standing on the front line as well, so it's going to prevent Natsumi from getting to deal with the back. But look at Lelouch. He's buying back, getting on top of the Lena, who doesn't have a buyback. Now the Fiend's Grip as well. Mavis, they cut down Medusa. They'll turn to the Clockwork as well. 2 down without a buyback.
40 seconds. Lena's got buyback in 40 seconds. We'll see if he's able to get it.
Radiant's middle
Only
tower is
280
under attack.
gold as well.
Radiant
They have a
structures
Philosopher's
are
Stone.
fortified.
No, they do not. There's a couple of bounty runes out on the dire side. This is the sort of gameplay where you
Radiant's
do
middle
need to
tower has
try and
fallen.
go for it to make that
I
happen.
mean, they push fast. They push real
Radiant's middle tower
fast.
is under attack.
You don't have Glyph, 20
Radiant's middle
seconds.
tower has
But
fallen.
someone's going to put his body on the line, but I mean, Mars too, lacking a buyback.
He's got buyback
here.
at least.
Oh, okay, he does,
No.
apologies.
Dire's
So they get the tier
top
4.
tower
There's BKB again. You just got to put your body in the way.
I mean, your throne's lying fast. Like, someone's going to do something. Sari's going to make an attempt, but with Natsumi, all the priority put on the objectives. Lena's back alive, but we are going to a game 3 as Polaris, a slow start in this second game, but they ramp it back up towards the later stages.
That's what you like to see, though. I mean, it was another really good start coming through for MY. There's not too much that you could fault, though, about the way that MY were playing. You know, they were playing this little bit of, a little bit of chicken, let's call it, around that Roche pit. It just came to that point where it was, 37 minutes into the game, no buyback, ends up costing him. And some really good itemization and farming coming through from Natsumi, not dying a single time. Lionax was nearly the savior again in that last fight when the Bane was Fiend's gripping the Medusa. He flew through on the jetpack, but was off by this much with getting the cogs to stop that Fiend's grip from happening. So it was just the use of that Shadow Amulet, really making sure that he wasn't 100% certain on the Bane's position, and that was all she wrote.
It's leading us up to an exceptional game 3, though, with how MY have been really competitive for, I mean, they won game 1 and they looked really good, but game 2 for the first 3 quarters of this game, they were in the driver's seat. So now to set us up for a game 3, and if MY can take this series and then they have an opportunity to qualify against either Lil Gun or Army Geniuses, who you would say on paper is a little bit more even than this. I know they're looking strong, but still on paper, you got to speak about it. If you're able to take that against one of those teams, then, I mean, MY already you're potentially one of the earlier teams to qualify to the Pro Series 10, but we are going the distance here, and it feels like it's due with how these two teams have been able to battle it out. We're going to game 3. We'll see you guys all shortly after a quick break.